This call is now being recorded.
Alright, so good morning, class. Is my PowerPoint is um clear on your end? Do you see my PowerPoint on your end?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Alright, so again, good morning. This is Teacher Kendra, and I am the one who will facilitate your class for today. So I hope that everyone is in the best shape today. Alright, so let's proceed. So again, welcome to class. Today, August 6, 2021, and it is 9:38 a.m. on my clock, and I have two students on this Google meeting. So before we formally start, kindly check yourselves and your places. Be sure to make your study area clean and free from any distraction so that you can focus more on our discussion. Are we good on that, class? Is that
Yes,
clear,
ma'am.
class?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Clear.
Am I audible? And may I hear some confirmation my voice is audible on your end? All right, so thank you. Okay, so thank you. Pardon if my internet connection, pardon if I am a little bit delayed on your end because my internet connection is fluctuating as of the moment. So please bear with me. And pardon if I will constantly ask you if my voice is audible. So for me to make sure that you will hear my voice clearly and will understand the lesson that we have for today. Is that clear, class? Is that cool?
Cool,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
That is clear. So, all right, thank you. So again, I have here a few reminders for us to have a smooth discussion. So there you can see the reminders. So first we have kindly tap the mute button to avoid getting background noises that may distract the class. So for those students who are experiencing technical problems or your internet connection is fluctuating as of the moment, just like teacher Kendra. All right, so you may type in your answers on our Google Meet chat box. And second, tap the raise hand button if you have any concerns or you want to answer, and then wait until your name is acknowledged. So is that clear, class? All right. So please remember these simple reminders for us to have smooth discussion. Okay.
All clear,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
All right. Thank you for your responses. Now let's begin with our objective. So at the end of rather, the students are expected to first identify the general rule using the quantifiers a little, a few, and few. Second, you are expected to differentiate the quantifiers with an article a and with no article. And lastly, you are expected to construct sentences using this four quantifiers. So that those are our objectives. Right? So I guess upon reading the objectives, you already have an idea about our topic for today. So, right, our topic for today is about quantifiers. Here, we are about to learn how beneficial this is. So, especially for us language users, it is beneficial for us because we will be useful way for us to express amount, but the impression we want to convey. So here we will, in this discussion, we will quantifier specifically a little, little, and a few, and few. But then let us first define quantifier. Please definition. Are you there, Mena?
Yes, ma'am. So quantifiers,
All right. Please.
quantifiers are used. I'm sorry, ma'am. Your lines is cutting in
Yes,
and
please
out in
read the
my end.
definition.
Oh, sure.
Oh,
Quantifiers,
sorry. So,
quantifiers, quantifiers are used to indicate the amount or quantity of a something referred to by a noun.
all right. So, thank you. Quantifiers are used to indicate the amount or quantity of something referred to by noun. Keep in mind that quantifiers are way different from numbers because they indicate an approximate amount rather than an exact amount. All right. So there, let's have um, the first two quantifiers. So a little and little. Will you please read the slide, Karen?
Yes, ma'am. A little and little. A little and little are used with non-count nouns. A little, little plus uncountable nouns. A little milk, little money.
All right. Thank you, Karen. So, a little and little are used with non-count nouns. I guess you are already familiar with non-count nouns, all right? So, non-count counts or uncountable nouns are nouns that cannot be counted, all right? So, keep in mind that qualifiers a little and little are used with non-count nouns. We all know that non-count nouns cannot be counted, such as abstract nouns, mass nouns, and the like. So we can see or we can notice there that there is a pattern. All right, so a little, little plus uncountable nouns. If we want to use these quantifiers, it must be followed by non-count nouns. So just like the given examples, all right, a little milk, little money. As you can see there, milk and money are considerably non-count nouns. So let's try to use these quantifiers in sentences. All right, there. So, will you please read the first example, Mena?
I like coffee with a little milk.
All right. How about the second example? Karen, please read.
I've got little money left in my account.
Thank you, lady. So, from these examples, we can notice that the quantifiers a little, little are used based on the adequacy of the amount. So, through these, we can identify whether the amount of the noun used is sufficient or not. So, we will try to learn more about this quantifier. So let's have first the quantifier a little. So in this discussion, we will discuss it one by one. So let's have a little. So will you please read the what's on the slide, Mena?
A little. When we use the quantifier, a little, it means a small amount, but it is enough.
All right, so thank you. Again, as what I have mentioned earlier, these quantifiers express the adequacy of the amount. So here, a little is used uh, to express that the small amount is enough. Okay, is that clear, class?
Clear,
Clear.
ma'am.
All right, thank you. Am I being too fast?
No po.
No,
All
ma'am.
right, thank you. Thank you for that responses. So let's proceed to all right, so I have here some examples. So number one, I always enjoy a little cream and sugar in my coffee. So this means that there is a small amount. So though there is a small amount of cream and sugar, for that person, he enjoyed that little amount of it. So for him, his preference for her coffee or his or her coffee, a little cream and sugar will do for him to enjoy that coffee. So now let's proceed to the next example. We have a little extra time this afternoon. Do you want to watch a movie? So, this might actually mean that they have enough time to watch a movie. All right? So, there you can see that a little, though there is a small amount, but still it is enough to do their agendas. Is that clear, class?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. So, can you give me an example using this quantifier a little, Mena?
For my example, there's a little sugar left, so do you still want a cup of coffee?
All right, thank you. So, there you use the quantifier a little. Very good, Mena. So, now we can proceed to the next quantifier. All right, so please read the slide, Karen.
Little. When we use little, it is also means a small amount, but it is not enough.
All right, so this means that the small amount left is not sufficient. So before, a little is a small amount, but it is enough. So here in quantifier little, the small amount left is not sufficient. All right, so let's have an example. Mena, will you please read the example?
There's a very little time before the show starts. I don't think we have time for a coffee.
All right, so thank you, Mena. This means that their time to have a coffee is not enough because the show will start in a few minutes. Is that right? So, how about Karen? Can you give me an example using quantifier little?
Mm, Mary has little confidence. She has a lot of trouble talking to new people. This means, ma'am, that Mary's confidence isn't enough to make new friends. Am I correct?
All right, there I see. So, it is quite awful that Mary has little confidence for her to have a to form a new friends. All right, so she might be a type of person or an introvert person. All right, so thank you, Karen, for that good example. So now I guess you understand the lesson or the quantifiers a little and little. We can now proceed to the next pair of quantifiers, a few and few. All right, so there. Mena, will you please read what is on the slide?
A few and few. A few and few are used with count nouns. So the rules would be a few or few plus plural countable nouns. So for example, a few hours, few friends.
All right. Thank you, Mena. So before earlier we have a little and little, which is we are used with non-count nouns. So now we have the quantifiers a few and few, which are used with count nouns. So take note that count it must be in plural form. So thank you for that, Mena. So there we have an examples, a few hours and few friends. So these are countable nouns, hours and friends. Okay. So now let's have examples. The first example, we had a few hours left before we had to be at the airport, so we went for a last swim. Okay. So there. And the second example, very few people enjoyed the film despite the stars who act in it. All right, so yeah, there. So similar to the definition we have in a little, we use a few when we are referring to a small amount, but enough. In example number one, so maybe a group of friends agreed to have their last swim before their flight because they still have a few hours left. All right, while using the quantifier few, the rule here is same with the quantifier little. So the rule from a quantifier little can also be applied in this quantifier. So we use few when we refer to a small amount, but this time it is not enough or almost nothing. So in example number two, few convey that though the film cast good actors, few people enjoyed it. Is that clear, class?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
All right. So if that is clear, can you give me an example using a few and few? Would you like to try, Mena? Mena, can you give me an example using a few and few? You may choose one from these quantifiers.
So for a few, I have a few good friends and I am not lonely.
All right. Thank you for that. How about you, Karen? Can you give me an example using the quantifier few? Because Mena used the quantifier a few.
Yes, ma'am.
All
Um,
right, thank you.
there are few trains arrive on time.
Okay, so thank you for that. There are few trains arrive on time. So though that this is a good thing, but few trains arrive on time, or there are few trains that uh are these few trains are not enough. All right, so very good. You are able to give examples. All right. So now I have here sentences using the quantifiers we have discussed earlier. So we will try to have a closer look to these examples. Will you please read the first two examples, Mena?
Number one, I have a little money, enough for the cinema. Number two, sorry, I have a little money. I really can't afford to go out.
All right. Thank you for that. How about the last two examples? Will you please read it for the class, Karen?
Yes, ma'am. Tom gave us a few materials for the school project. Number four, Tom gave us few materials for the school project.
All right. So after reading it carefully, aside from the fact that these quantifiers are used with countable and uncountable nouns, what have you noticed from these examples? Would you like to try, Mena?
Yes, ma'am. I have noticed that the quantifiers with an article A express a positive statements, while the two quantifiers without an article A express a negative statements.
All right, what a keen observer. Every two sentences look similar, right? Okay, but take a closer look. They actually do not mean the same thing. Just like what Mena have shared about her observation from the example, this leads us to learn more about the differences of quantifiers with an article a and with no article. All right. So before we proceed, do you have any questions?
None so far, ma'am.
Okay, thank you for that, Karen. So we will now proceed to the discussion of, all right, just for a moment. All right, so we will now proceed to the discussion of the main difference of quantifiers with an article a little, and a few, and with no article, little, and few. All right, so earlier we have discussed that the same rule applies in both quantifiers, a little and a few, and same goes with quantifiers, little and few. So now let's have the quantifiers with an article. Okay, so will you please read what is on the slide, Karen?
Quantifiers with an article a little and a few. When we use the quantifiers with with an article a little and a few, we mean a small amount, but it is not enough. They also express a positive feeling.
All right, so thank you for that. Quantifiers with an article a, specifically a little and a few, mean this, the small amount left is enough. So these two are also express statements in a positive sense. So let's take the examples we have earlier. All right, so there. So I will read the examples for you. We have I have a little money, enough for the cinema. The second, Tom gave us a few materials for the school project. So, the first example means that the little money she has is enough to buy a cinema ticket. So, we love movies, right? We love watching movies. So, it is a positive statement. So, the same goes with the second example. It means that the receiver of the material thinks that it would be a great help for the school project. So Tom gave us a few materials for the school project, and that materials are enough for them to have a good school output. All right. So therefore, it expresses a positive feeling. Do we are we clear on on that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Am I being
Yes,
may I
ma'am.
hear
All
some
clear.
responses? All right. So thank you. Thank you, Mena. So on the other hand, using quantifiers with no article, all right? So we can now proceed to the next slide, little and few. All right. So these quantifiers may give a different impression. So will you please read the slide, Mena?
Quantifiers with no article are little and
Excuse.
few. This also mean a small amount, but this time the amount is also nothing. If the noun is something that we want, like money or friends, then using little or few means that we don't have enough, and it gives a statement in a negative sense.
All right. Thank you for that, Mena. So if the noun is something that we want, all right. So there is example like money or friends. So we love money, all right. So and we actually love to have friends. Okay. So these are the things that we want. So then if we use quantifiers little or few with these nouns, it means that we don't have enough. All right? So it gives a statement in a negative sense. So it if we use this quantifiers, it express a negative feeling. Okay? Is that clear, class? I hope everything is clear. All right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yes,
Thank you,
ma'am.
Karen. Thank you, Mena. So, I have here examples. All right. So these are the examples we have earlier. Okay. So will you please read these examples again for the class, Mena?
Quantifiers with no article, a, little, and a few. Let's take a closer look at these examples. Sorry, I have a little money. I really can't afford to go out. Second, Tom gave us a few materials for the school project.
Okay. So thank you for that, Mena. So I heard that, okay. So in second example, Tom gave us, Mena read it with an article. So we need to be cautious about that. All right. So why? Because we might give or we might convey a wrong wrong meaning. All right. So if maybe we will convey a right meaning. So we should be cautious about that. So, but then again, we will learn more about this quantifier. So, both sentences express negative feelings. So, in the first example, it feels bad when you want to go out with your friends, but having a little money or having little money, all right, will give you a second thought. Have you experienced that kind of scenario when your friends try to ask you to have a or for you to hang out with them, but uh you know yourself that you do not have that money? All right, so have you already
Yes, ma'am.
experienced that? All right.
Yes,
All
po.
right, Karen already experienced that. How about you, Mena?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so thank you for that. And we feel bad because nowadays we really love our friends, but then we can't afford to go out with them with little money. All right, so let's have the second example. This example expresses disappointment. All right, why? Because the recipient of the materials expected Tom to give more supplies or materials for the school project. But Tom didn't. Okay, so it gives a negative feeling. Okay, so unfortunately, Tom didn't give a few materials. In simple words, if we want to communicate a positive feeling, we use quantifiers with an article. So what are those quantifiers again? Anyone? Mena? What are those quantifiers with an article? Ah, all right, Karen.
A little and a few.
Okay, very good. Thank you for that, Karen. And using no article, little and few will change the feeling or the nuance of the sentence. So thank you. But however, if we learn that using few and little express a negative feeling, I have a question. There. Can you see the question or my slide on your end?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So, if few and little are quantifiers used to express negative statements, here I have a question. Can we use quantifiers few and little to convey positive statements? What do you think, class? Do you think is it a yes or a no? All right. Yes, Mena.
I think, ma'am, that it's a yes.
Okay. Thank you for that, Mena. Do you have any idea how we can turn these quantifiers into positive statements? Okay. So, no worries. All right. So, no worries. We will try to discover how we can turn this quantifiers few and little to convey positive statements. All right. So, thank you for that. And yes, you are right. All right. You are right that few and little can be used to convey positive statements. Here we have an exception. All right. So remember that there is just an exception. Okay. So will you please read the slide, Karen?
Yes, ma'am. Exception. If we use few or little with a negative noun, then the statement conveys a positive meaning.
All right. Thank you. So if we use few or little with a noun that we don't want, then it can have a positive meaning. It's good to have nearly no problem. So let's try to have examples. Okay? So let me read it for you. The first example is there have been few problems with the new system. Thankfully, the second one is there is little crime in my town. So do these sentences express a positive feeling?
Yes, ma'am. It
All
Yes, ma'am.
right.
expresses positive feeling now, ma'am.
All right. Thank you for your responses. So let's take a closer look here. So the noun we use in first example is problems. Okay? And problems are something that we do not want. Okay? So this is a negative thing in many cases. So if we refer to our first example, few problems, this means a small number of problems. This sentence expresses a good situation. Okay? But if I say we have a few problems, this expresses a negative feeling. Okay? So the same goes with little. Okay? So the same goes with, all right? Is my PowerPoint? Do you see my PowerPoint on your end?
Yes,
Sorry.
ma'am.
All right. Sorry, I am having a technical issues as of the moment, so please do bear with me. Okay, but then again, it is good to know that my PowerPoint slide is visible on your end. So let's proceed to the second example. Again, there is little crime in my town. So the word crime here is something that we also do not want, right? Okay? However, if we use the quantifier little, it makes a good statement. Okay? So you have mentioned that you agree that this sentence expresses a positive feeling. So this means that the rate of crime or the crime rate in the town is little or almost nothing. All right. Do you have any question? Is that clear, class?
Yes, ma'am. All
Yes,
clear.
ma'am. It's clear.
Okay. Thank you for your responses. if you do not have any question, can you give me an example of few or little in a positive sense? All right. Anyone from the class? Okay. So you can tap or you can raise your hand. Okay. Karen? Yes, Karen?
Let me try, ma'am.
Okay.
I am so pleased that I have few arguments with my family.
Okay. Thank you. So you use few and the noun you use is arguments. Is that right? Do I hear it clearly?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So that is also a good statement. Okay, it is good to know that you have few arguments with your family. Thank you, Karen, for that good example. Okay, it does have a positive statement. Okay, how about Mena? Can you give me an example using the quantifier little?
Yes, ma'am. So it's great that there's been very little bad weather this month.
Okay, thank you for that. Excellent. Thank you for that excellent example. It also conveys a positive statement. All of your answers are right. So again, do you have any questions regarding our topic?
No questions, ma'am.
All right. How about you, Karen? Do you have any question?
No, ma'am. No questions po.
Okay, all right. So if you don't have any questions, let's have a review for the things that we have learned for today. Okay? Mhm. All right. So there. Remember that quantifiers are used to indicate the amount or quantity of something referred to by a noun. So, quantifiers are used to indicate an approximate amount rather than an exact amount. So, please take note of that. And the four quantifiers that we have are a little and little. It is used with noun non-count nouns. And the second pair, a few, and few are used with non-count nouns. All right, please take note. All right. Okay. So and next, quantifiers with an article a express positive feelings, while quantifiers with no article express negative feelings. So this is also an important part of the lesson that our quantifiers with an article express positive feelings, while quantifiers with no article express negative feelings. So we must be cautious, we must be careful on how we will use these quantifiers. So here I have a table to summarize the lesson that we have discussed. Okay, all right. So you will see there that a little and little are uncountable nouns. So a little convey positive. All right. So you will see the table for you to have. This will be your guide in constructing your sentences or your statements. However, we have discussed that there is an exception. Okay, if the noun that we use is referring to something that is not actually good, such as problems, crimes, pollution, all right, and the likes, then we can use quantifiers little and few to make it a positive statement. All right, so few and little can be used to express statements in a positive sense by using it with negative nouns, just like their problems, crimes, pollution. Okay, therefore, we need to pay attention to the noun that little or few is modifying. All right, are we clear on that, class?
Yes, ma'am,
Yes,
clear.
ma'am. Clear po.
All right, thank you. So I have four questions here, and I want you to answer this based on what you have learned. All right, so let's proceed to our Q and A portion. All right, so the first examples, again, before we proceed to our first examples, are you ready?
Ready, ma'am.
All right, thank you. So now we can proceed to our first question. Will you please read it, Mena?
What are the four quantifiers that we have discussed?
All right, thank you. And what are those four quantifiers?
So, the four quantifiers that we have discussed today are a lil, a few, and few.
All right, very good, Mena. You are right. Okay, we have a little, a few, and few. Very good. Now, please read the question and give your answer. All right, there. Our second question, can we have? All right, Karen, please.
Yes, ma'am. When do we use quantifiers with an article? And when do we use quantifiers with no article? Um, Quantifiers with an article a means a small enough, but it is already enough. It is also expresses a positive feeling, while quantifiers with no article mean a small amount as well, but it shows not enough. Using this quantifier with no article can express negative feelings.
All right, great explanation, Karen. You really remember the lesson. Okay, thank you for your good answers. Now, let's proceed to our third question. Would you like to try again, Mena?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, please read the question.
What makes the quantifiers few and a lil positive?
Okay, what do you think is the answer? What is your answer, Mena, from that question? Excuse me.
So for me, based on the lesson that we discussed for today, the noun we will use can change the meaning of the statement we want to convey. And if the noun that we use is referring to something that is not actually good, then we can use quantifiers little and few to make it a positive statement.
Awesome. So thank you for that good answer. And you are right. Okay, thank you, Mena. And we are now down for our last question. All right, anyone from the class want to answer this question? Yes, Karen?
Yes, ma'am. What do you think is the importance of using quantifiers in conveying a statement? For me, ma'am, the importance of learning these quantifiers is to be clear about the ideas that we want to convey. These quantifiers can help us to indicate the proper mood or feeling. Without the knowledge of these quantifiers or how we can use it properly might get us in an awful situation, ma'am.
Okay, I couldn't agree more. You are right. So indeed, learning this topic would be beneficial for every person who uses the language. Just like what you have said, if we are clueless about this matter, we might find ourselves in an awful situation. So we do not want to be incomprehensible to the person we are speaking with, right? So therefore, we must be cautious enough in using the proper quantifier. So thank you for all of your responses, and I believe that you really understood our topic. Okay? So now, all right, for us to get accustomed to quantifiers a little, a few, and few, we will practice it. Is that fine, class?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay, so it will be a filling the blanks type of question wherein you will read the sentence first and then give the missing proper quantifier in each statement. Is that clear, class?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
All right, so let's now begin to practice. Okay, so if you want to answer this item, please raise your hand. Okay, I can see Karen is raising her hand. Please, Karen.
Yes, ma'am. Number one, I have blank water left. There's enough to share. Um,
Okay, what do you think is the proper quantifier?
the answer to that question is a little, ma'am. I have a little water left. There's enough to share.
Okay, thank you. Let's check if your answer is correct. There, very good, Karen. Your answer is correct. A little is the right quantifier for this item. I have a little water left. There's enough to share. So a little, because water is a non-count noun, and there is an indicator that the water is enough to share. Okay, thank you, Karen. And for our second example, second question, what do you think is the answer? Okay, Mena,
Number two, he has blank education. He can't read and write.
what do you think
So,
is the answer?
so I think for that one, the missing quantifier is lil.
Okay, little with no article. Okay, let us check if your answer is correct. There, he has little education. He can't read and write. You are correct, Mena. This statement also expresses a negative feeling. So let's proceed to the third one. Who would like to answer this question? Okay, Karen.
Yes, ma'am. There are blank people she really trusts. It is a bit sad. The answer is few, ma'am. There are few people she really trusts. It is a bit sad.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. Very good. So, similar to the second question, it also expresses a negative feeling. Okay, so it is a bit sad knowing that the girl has few people for her to trust. Okay, so moving on to the next number. Okay, Mena.
Number four, we've got blank time at the weekend. Would you like to meet?
Okay, what's your answer?
So for that one, I think a little is my answer. We've got a little time at the weekend. Would you like to meet?
Okay, thank you for that. Let's see if your answer is correct. If a little is the proper or the missing quantifier. There, correct. There is enough time for them to meet on weekend. So the answer is a little. Thank you, Mena. How about the next one? Karen, would you like to try again?
Sure, ma'am. Julie gave us blank apples from her garden. Shall we share them? I think for this one, the missing quantifier is a few, ma'am, because apple is a count noun, and there are enough amount of apples to share.
Okay, there you have an explanation. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Excuse me. Let's see if your answer is correct. Okay, there. A few. You are correct. So, all right. Thank you. Julie gave us a few apples from her garden. Shall we share them? All right. So, let's proceed to the next number. Okay, there. Who would like to try? Okay, I can see Mena. Okay, please unmute your mic.
It's a great pity, but the hospital has blank medicine. They can't help many people.
Okay, what is your answer?
So my answer for this item is Lil. It's a great pity, but the hospital has Lil medicine. They can't help many people.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. Little. Very good, Mena. Your answer is correct. So this statement also expresses a negative feeling. All right. So there is little amount of medicine for them to help people. So therefore, they can help people. Okay. So let's proceed to the next number. We have number 7. I guess Karen is raising her hand. Karen?
Yes, ma'am, let me try. I've got blank cakes to give away. Would you like one?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think the quantifier for this statement is a few, mom. I've got blank cakes to give away. Would you like to try one?
So, your answer is a few, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let's see. Okay, so a few is the right quantifier for this item. So I've got a few cakes to give away. Okay, cake is a countable noun, right? So there is enough amount of cake to offer some. Thank you, Karen. Now, let's have number 8. Will you please read and answer?
Number 8, Selena is lucky. She has blank problems.
Okay. The answer from to that question is
I think that is a few. She has few problems.
okay. So very good. Your answer is correct. So she has few problems. So that's why Selena is very lucky. Okay. So thank you for that, Mena. Using few here makes the statement a positive one. So we are down to the last two questions. Let's have the ninth item. Okay, are you thirsty? There's blank juice left in this bottle if you'd like it. What do you think is the missing quantifier here? Do you have any idea, Karen?
Yes, ma'am. Are you thirsty? There's a little juice left in this bottle if you would like.
Okay, so what do you think is the missing quantifier?
A little, ma'am.
Okay, so thank you. Let's see if your answer is correct. Okay, a little. Very good. You are correct. And now for our last item, Mena. Yes, Mena.
Number number 10, the city has blank pollution.
And the answer is
The missing quantifier in this item is lil. The city has lil pollution.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. There. So great. Excuse me. You gave the right answer. So pollution is something that we do not want. So to make it a positive statement, we use little. So it's good to know that the city has little pollution. So thank you for all of your responses, girls. I'm glad that you are all participative. I believe that you have learned a lot from today's discussion.
We
All
learned
right?
a lot, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes,
thank you for
ma'am.
that, Karen. Thank you, Mena. So great to hear that. Now, I still have a prepared activity. However, our time is limited, which is why this activity will be your assignment. All right? Are you happy? All right. So instead we will have this as an assignment. So will you please read the direction, Mena?
So for
Okay.
the direction, construct 5 sentences, each using the following quantifiers: a lil, a and few.
Thank you, Mena. So, on your assignment, you will construct 5 sentences each, okay, using the following quantifiers. So, a little, a few, and few. So, I will be expecting a total of 20 sentences, all right? So, is that clear, class?
Yes, ma'am, all clear.
Okay, thank you, Karen. So, that is your assignment. So, do you have any question? So, before we end our discussion, do you have any question? May I know if you have one?
Ma'am. None, ma'am.
None
I
so
don't
far,
have
ma'am.
questions, ma'am.
Okay, thank you for that. So, if you do not have any questions, then that's the end of our today's discussion. So, thank you for your participation. I would like to extend, all right, my gratitude for your you being here, all right, being present in our Google Meet meeting, okay, Google Meet class. Everybody did a great job. So tap your shoulder because you did a great job for today. Okay, so thank you, class. You may leave the call now and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. You may leave the call. See you on our next class.